Deep in the lowest deck of the ship, someone was combing her hair. There was no light, no air, no dignity. She found a way to care for herself, not in the way we think of self-care. Using multiple layers of softeners and conditioning. No jojoba oil, but she felt as if she felt the top of her hair, and she touched her scalp. She couldn't try to touch her scalp. She couldn't touch her scalp because her hair was so deeply matted. But she worked off her memory. As she touched her hair, she began to remember. As a tear slid down her face, she remembered, clearly remembered. She pulled back those memories of walking through the fields, of going to places like the river to wash herself with beautiful blossoms that she'd gathered and taken the oils with her, the beautiful aromatic natural oils she'd pounded and made for herself. And as she finished washing, preparing herself, she'd finish by smoothing those oils on her hair and using her comb. Yes, her comb made from very rustic material, but yes, her comb, as she'd part her hair and plait her hair. And these are the memories that she would have. And as she looked across at other women who looked the same as her, and she saw they were doing the same, touching the top of their hair, touching their scalp, pulling with their fingers, making the best, finding a way deep in that ship, finding a way to care for herself. Deep in the lowest deck of the ship, someone was combing her hair. There was no light, no air, no dignity. She found a way to care for herself, not in the way we think of self-care. Using multiple layers of softeners and conditioning. No jojoba oil, but she felt as if she felt the top of her hair, and she touched her scalp. She couldn't try to touch her scalp. She couldn't touch her scalp because her hair was so deeply matted. But she worked off her memory. As she touched her hair, she began to remember. As a tear slid down her face, she remembered, clearly remembered. She pulled back those memories of walking through the fields, of going to places like the river to wash herself with beautiful blossoms that she'd gathered and taken the oils with her, the beautiful aromatic natural oils she'd pounded and made for herself. And as she finished washing, preparing herself, she'd finish by smoothing those oils on her hair and using her comb. Yes, her comb made from very rustic material, but yes, her comb, as should part her hair and plait her hair. And these are the memories that she'd have. And as she looked across at other women who looked the same as her, and she saw they were doing the same, touching the top of their hair, touching their scalp, pulling with their fingers, making the best, finding a way deep in that ship, finding a way to care for herself. In her, she was beautiful. No one did. She was hidden and renegated down into the bowels, the deepest, darkest bowel of a slave ship. There, with the rats running across her feet, boils on her skin, and the stench and aroma of deep, deep neglect. She found her validation from within. From a place so deep that it became what I call blood memory. She combed her hair with her fingers. She pulled gently. She caressed. She remembered the oils. She remembered the partings through her hair and the nimbleness of her mother's finger as her mother combed her hair as a child. And then as she grew into a young woman, as she took the time, where she walked, the paths she crossed, the oils she gathered by tapping on plants had beautiful aroma. She remembered those, and she would just pat her skin. Yes, it was rough and unkept, but she'd find ways to keep herself. Moreover, she would pass her hand over her hair, and as she learned to plait, with little assistance from oils or beautiful smelling aromatic shampoos or conditioners, she found a way. The deep, deep, deep place from within where love and self-love comes from, not from external sources. That is the memory, the blood memory that I believe has come through to me. This is the reason why I believe, as a woman, a black woman in this generation, that something has passed through. And this is why I proudly own every aspect of my beauty, my hair, my natural hair. I refuse to be hidden. I refuse my natural hair to be hidden in a dark place under a wig, just as my grandmother, great-great-great-grandmother's hair was hidden, because she was totally hidden in the bowels of a ship. I refuse to let my hair be hidden voluntarily because of external pressures from society that says your beauty does not match. Your beauty, your hair is not Eurocentric, so therefore, before you leave your home, you must cover it with a wig, hide it away. It must not be seen in public because of the deep sense and memory and blood memory of my grandmother, great-great-great-grandmother, that has passed through me. I will not hold my head in shame. I will not cover my hair with wigs and abandon it in a dark place because society externally does not validate. Like my great-great-great-great-grandmother, I have defied the odds because I validate myself. Yes, I'm not in a slave ship anymore. I've never been in one. She bore that for me. But through her blood memory, I carry this strong sense of self-identity. And there's a knowing that the Queen of Beauty is within. And because the Queen of Beauty is within, that beauty radiates from within me, as it radiated from my grandmother, great-great-great-grandmother, so many years ago. And she stood in her dignity. In an undignified condition, she stood with dignity. And the crown of her head, with her hair, she maintained in the best way possible. And she refused to be hidden. She stood strong. She stood firm in herself. And that is the blood memory that has passed through me. It says to me and to women who look like me that you are worth caring for. Your hair is worth combing. Your hair is worth being put on display. Your skin is worth oiling. Even when everything around you says otherwise. When Hollywood shows examples of black women hiding their hair away in shame, placing on their heads hair that they believe is accepted by society. The blood memory from my great-great-great-great-grandmother is so deeply embedded in me that I refuse to accept that type of non-identity. I identify myself from the crown of my head to the sole of my feet, and carry the defiance and the glory of my beauty. And our beauty is not hidden. And this is that beauty that is so deep from within that people will see. Not a hidden beauty, not a masked beauty, not a shameful beauty, a hidden away beauty. That's the blood memory of my great-great-great-great-grandmother that I stand with and that has passed through me, and I'm proud to stand. Beautiful coils that God has placed on our heads. Be alarmed, have a sense of not being good enough. But in this society, remember that as black women, women of color. There's genetic history deep down that has traveled with us, if we choose to draw upon it. There's a strength that has already survived the worst. That strength is already within us. Draw upon it. Take hold of it. Do not skulk in the darkness. Anoint your head with oil, because your cup has run over. There are ones, and there are thousands, who've bore the real cost of shame. And in that they stood strong. In that they used their blood memory to maintain and to uphold and to shine totally in our beauty. So we've come to that point in our story where we acknowledge that my great grandmother, in the lowest deck of the ship, she kept her identity. She kept her identity. She kept it by carefully constructing and maintaining those powerful memories. The combing of her hair, the oiling of her skin, even when there was no oils, just from that memory. Creating and maintaining the identity. Even though she was hidden, she refused to be hidden. So in modern 21st century, stand. You found this video for a reason. Stand strong in blood memory. Stand knowing that standing is a gift that we've each been given. I salute my great grandmother as I tell this story. She stood in the distance, looking on, hoping. And as I tell this story, I feel that she smiles. And she gently nods her head. And a small tear leaves her eye and gently rolls down her cheek. She's proud. She's proud of my soft braids. She sees me. I see you, grandmother. Great grandmother. I see the soft plaits on your head that you wore with pride. The only time you would cover that would be if you would be in the house cooking. But otherwise, when you walked, your soft braids were always on display. I see you. And I thank you. And out of thanks for you, I will not be hidden. I will not hold my head down in shame. And as we, black women of this new generations and generations to come, however we choose to wear our beautiful hair, whether it's in a bowl of soft afro or in Bantu knots or free flowing. We're proud of who we are. We celebrate ourselves, and we celebrate the strong, strong, strong women on whose shoulder we stand today as we maintain our identity in a world that challenges us not to, where the status quo is that we hide our afro hair, we buy wigs, and we hide them away from public view and take the wigs off only in our homes. But we remember you, the women who upheld your dignity in the dark. And we are in the light. And when you stood in the light, you stood totally as who you are and how you are and were created. So, thank you for being a part of this story. If you carry something like this, it's a strength that you didn't choose. It's a strength that chose you. I'd love to hear your story. These are the stories in the quiet places where we have our victories and our strength, and we draw from that strength as we go out into the world and take on everything that life brings to us, all the joys, all the challenges. We come into a room, we walk into rooms as queens, totally accepting of ourselves, and the room accepts us more if we are authentically ourselves. And thank you to my great grandmother, and for your great grandmothers who did the victory march for us even before we knew it had to be done. So welcome, and thank you for coming to our channel where stories bring light. Please like and subscribe.